Hey, what's going on, Archons? Welcome to another Patreon supporter deck analysis. This one is again by Vaultboy, who sent me a pretty interesting looking deck from Worlds Collide. It's got some sauce for sure. As you can see, I've intentionally put this camera over the SAS so you don't get to see what it is. If you feel inclined to just go look it up to know, don't, all right? Just enjoy this for what it is. We're looking at the deck, what it contains. The score is irrelevant to the process of what is being executed here, where I analyze some of my Patreon supporters' decks that they submit to me based on the tier they're on for Patreon. So if you want to have your decks looked at every month, then by all means go on to my Patreon, link in the comments, and get to that level if that interests you. So here we have a really nice Logos Saurian Shadows, which is a great house combination for, I think, the Worlds Collide set. And first off, what jumps out at me right away? Well, there's 20 creatures, which I feel like is a really solid number. But the thing that really is kind of popping out to me is having the dinos here with a Spartosaurus. And what do you have with that Spartosaurus, which is just fantastic? Well, you have Tribune Pompatus. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And with Tribune Pompatus, it also gives you the potential to have some fun things occur, which is 6 Semper Tyrannus. And then with that, you also have Grim Locust Ducks, which means you're already going to have two Ember on it, and it will be the strongest thing there. There's nothing that's going to rival that. But you also have the fun of having Senator Shrix with Tribune Pompatus, which means you could do some really, really wild things there. Ancient Power in this deck. Wow, that is something really nice, because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, most of the creatures are going to end up having stuff on them. The ward is nice there, but I mean, between Tribune Pompatus and yeah, basically only Tricerian Legionary, Spartosaurus, and Broodon Auxiliary are not going to end up having stuff on it. But look at that board. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures in Saurian. You pretty much just need to get Saurian out and just keep calling Saurian over and over and over again. Like, that feels like a very, very likely line that you just roll with and just laugh all the way to the bank, literally. What else I'm liking here too is the triple hit and run. There's so many options for that in this. I mean, where do I start? I feel like you could go, oh my goodness, there's so many cool things here. Okay, so hit and run. First off, if the 6 Emperors haven't come out, you haven't gotten rid of that Ember, you got those pinatas out there with the dinosaurs, you can literally hit and run a dinosaur into too much to protect. That is hilarious. I like that one. Hawk and Subtle Chain are really nice. You also have the Vinda suite here, which is just great for a little bit of extra steely there, or some hand disruption if you want that. But the Ronnie obviously is, like, I didn't even say it because the hit and run of Ronnie is so obvious you're gonna do it. But I mean, if you got a bunch of dinos, especially some cool ones that having Ember on them, like Grim Locust Ducks is a big one for me, big target. I would say also Legatus Raptor, but no, I would say Grim Locust Ducks and even Tricerian Legionary if you get some Ember on there somehow. Maybe it's through a tribute that came early. You could just throw those up, too much to protect. Ronnie, hit and run Ronnie. Like, I mean, there's just so many cool ways that you can interact with these hit and runs and do just silly things. Yeah, that's really fun. The support that Shadows has, like, it feels support in the sense that your dinos could get pinata like, and even with Tribune Pompatus, them being really nice and big, you can still actually utilize the hit and runs to get rid of that Ember and get it back to your side. So I mean, between the 2 6 Emperors and the 3 hit and runs with a too much to protect being definitely the key component to making that work, you can do some silly things. So I really like that. Now let's go over to Logos and have a quick peek here what we got. Well, if that too much to protect comes early, you have the great benefit of having a Dr. Millie to archive a card. You have the Igors to dig. You also have the Candle unit, which I'm really liking, just to create that moment where reap and you get to draw a card. So the chance of getting those components that are going to really make the deck hum. What else we got here? I feel like the Wormhole Technician is really nice as well. Although it does reveal the TMTP or Six Semper, which is the only, I would say, downside. Positron Bolt is really good. I'm actually just looking now. I just want to see the cards that they're doing for creature control here. Aside, yeah, so it doesn't have a ton of creature control, but once Spartosaurus comes out, all bets are off, basically, and that's the way I feel about Spartosaurus. It's such a great card. I think it's a really cool design. It's bordering on OP, but I don't think it is quite OP, but it's bordering for sure. I even like you having small creatures that you can just get rid of, like, for sure, Legatus Raptor is perfect, so you may exalt it, and then if you do red and use another friendly creature, Spartosaurus is out, you just take anything else, you swing it, it gets killed, board wipe. Laugh into the bank there. So that's always a great one. Double Hologramophone is really nice just because you get that extra ward going on, and you want that with some of your dinosaurs. You want to create that ability to protect and allow your game plan to come out, which I really like with this. And then Mini Group Think Tank. This is the one card. I'm not a fan of this card. I'm glad it was not reprinted. I'm just hate it, and I think it's going to become a problem as you move into having a dino exclusive board, which is where I think this deck ends up by the time you're getting to third key, if all things are going to plan, because you can make it so they don't get a board and you just keep dropping dinos. I wish there was some recursion to get back some of your dinos, but aside from that, it's nice. The Igor digging is great. Edai, of course, is fantastic. And then Academy training. This obviously, see, I want to say this goes to a dino, but I actually think that this gets thrown on one of the Vindas. I think that's where it may have the most potency, but you could always throw it somewhere else. Oh, excuse me. Try to stifle that sneeze. It wasn't happening. Okay, yeah, so this is a cool deck, but for me, I feel that your Logos is just getting you to the point where you have a solid dino board, getting the pieces, the hit and runs, the too much protects ready. And I think the way this plays is you're going to be rocking Saurian hard. Like, that's what you want. This deck wants to go get that Saurian board out. You're either using the Six Semper or the hit and runs, too much to protect to close out the game. And, oh, it does things. Especially if you can have a Ronnie, because the too much protect may not stop them from forging. But I think the way it works is the momentum at that point should be so significant that all that's happening is you are basically just in a perfect position to close out. Like, it doesn't matter if they get to force that next key, you're going to dominate to the end. That's how it feels. One thing I will say, which I think is kind of neat, is the let's say you have Grim Locust Ducks out, you have all these stuff here, and then the Six Semper comes, but you're holding your too much protect hit and run combo. I think you prioritize the hit and run too much to protect, because you can get Grim Locust Ducks back into your hand, and then Six Semper it next turn, because that's a guaranteed 2 Ember. So I think that's also a really fun way of playing this, is maybe I think you want to look for this hit and run too much protect to come out, prioritize that. Obviously the Ronnie hit and run is a classic combo, but I think the better play overall will end up being the too much to protect hit and run dinos coming back. And I mean, Dr. Avadora Megadeth, a name like that, this feels aptly named. So that's my rundown for this deck. I really like it. I'm going to play it on stream next week and see how it goes, and if I can execute some of these cool things I saw. I feel like the logos, like, I don't know. Obviously, you're going to call Saurian. The one thing I have to say, though, is the logo somehow feels out of place, but I can tell it's like the glue. It's what's going to bring everything together. But yeah, the Saurian is like, if the more you call Saurian in this deck, the more you're probably winning, I assume. And then, yeah, get some shoutouts for some fun stuff. That does it for this month's episode of AJ's super badass, fun, cool decks. Hope you enjoyed this. And as always, folks, may your Ember never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.